West Ham have a striker crisis as David Moyes confirms after the game that Odoi Yarmolenko has opened up his knee ligaments, and now we are into the bare bones when it comes to the striker position, because he also confirms that Mikel Antonio is a doubt because he has a tight hamstring ahead of the Sheffield United game. We're going to be talking Odoi Yarmolenko, the impact it has on West Ham, Antonio being a doubt, and West Ham maybe potentially going into the free agent market because of Odoi performance yesterday. Now let's get into Odoi Yarmolenko firstly. Now this was a guy who was the backup to an injury-prone striker in Antonio, but our backup in Odoi Yarmolenko was also injury-prone, and that come to fruition last night. He goes down the wing, he puts a cross in. He looks like he's opened up his knee ligaments. They're talking like an MCL. I'm not a doctor or a specialist in terms of injuries. I don't know the difference between an MCL or an ACL. But an MCL, potentially his season is over. And if it is that extent, he could miss the rest of the season. Or if not, he will still miss a good 4 to 5, 6 weeks of the season. That could have a huge impact on West Ham, especially if Antonio is injured. Yarmolenko isn't everyone's favourite. We know that he's not very mobile. He doesn't fit the characteristics like Antonio, and we do have to adjust the way we play, similar to when Sebastian Haller was in the team. There was a huge difference between Haller and Antonio being in the team, and there is a huge difference when Yarmolenko's playing and when Antonio's not playing. So for me, to lose him now is catastrophic, because he also could help us out on the right side, and it already makes our paper-thin squad even thinner. And he did mention in the post-match press conference, David Moyes, it doesn't look good. We also got Ogbonna injured in that game, and I'm a little bit less concerned regarding this injury, because whilst I think Ogbonna has been pretty much alongside Thomas Souček this season for the Ham of the Year, I'm a little bit more confident that we can maybe get through a couple of games if he misses a couple of weeks, because of the emergence of Craig Dawson, because Balbuena has had a solid season, and we potentially couldn't go back to a back five to maybe accommodate the sort of less experience that we're going to be having in that back line. And I feel like whilst Ogbonna was off the pitch yesterday, we defended very well for large chunks of that game with Ogbonna off. So I feel like what I saw from the Manchester United game in terms of our defensive discipline, I feel like we can move forward without Ogbonna if it's only for a couple of weeks. I feel like in the long term, if it was a long-term injury, we would see us, being a little bit more exposed with Ogbonna being out of the team. Mikel Antonio, he wasn't fit yesterday due to fatigue, and it has come out. It's been come out and said that Moyes is not sure. It's a concern where he's going to be available for the game against Sheffield United on Monday. And for me, this is what happens when you sort of don't plan. I'm not going to go on a rant because, I spoke about my feelings in regards to the way we conducted ourselves in a January transfer market. But when you rely on a striker who is injury prone, and then his backup is also injury prone, do not be surprised if he comes back and bites you on the arse and both of them are out injured. And it does look like Mikel Antonio has a tight hamstring. He was feeling it in the Fulham game. And we know that we have to be very, very careful when it comes to Mikel Antonio, because we have to manage his game time, because we know that any kind of injury to that hamstring, it's not a week or two. It's more 4, 5, 6 weeks. And those are the kind of hamstring problems that he does get. He doesn't get short-term injuries where he's out for 1 or 2 days, he's got a knock, or he's out for a maximum of a week. They are literally 4, 5, 6 week injuries. So we really have to manage him. And I feel like the last couple of weeks, he's played a lot of games. He come back from injury, got thrown straight into the deep end. He's playing, he played 10, 15, 30 minutes. He come off a bench a couple of times, but then he's been forced to play 90 minutes against Stockport, 90 minutes here, 90 minutes there every couple of days. And, it looks like that one's going to come back and bite us, because he looks like he might not be available for Sheffield United. For me, preferably, if I was the manager and the way I wanted to approach the league and the cup, I would have given him a rest against Fulham. Give him a rest against Fulham, play Manchester United, then give him a rest against Sheffield United. But that looks like he could also now be injured. Now, Odoi, because now if Yarmolenko's injured, Antonio's injured, Odoi is the one that's sort of got to maybe be thrown into the deep end, similar to how he was last night. Yarmolenko come off, he got thrown straight into a deep end. And there's been a lot of criticism of Odoi, and I don't believe he's ready, but I'm not going to come and criticise him and say he's rubbish or he's crap and he's not good enough for West Ham, because this is an 18-year-old boy who's still growing into his adult body, and he's coming up against seasoned, experienced international defenders who know how to sort of put themselves about, know how to shrug attackers off the ball, know where to position himself. And there was quite a lot of duels yesterday in that game that showed that. There were some duels that were actually in Odoi favour, but the defender won it because he doesn't have that experience, he doesn't have that physicality. And whilst the clips that we've seen in under 23s and whatnot shows that he's got fantastic feet in terms of his left foot, right foot, and he's a fantastic finisher, in terms of physicality, he's probably not ready for the Premier League right now because of that. Because we don't want to throw him straight in the deep end. We don't want to affect his confidence. And, you know, David Moyes, I'm just hoping that David Moyes' decision to bring him off for Lanzini to replace a striker when we needed to go to bring on another attacking midfielder, I hope that just doesn't put his confidence down. And because I know Odoi, he's gone to Manchester United, he's playing against Manchester United, he wants to prove himself. He wants to prove to Manchester United, you was wrong to let me go. He wants to prove to himself that he can make the step up, and it just didn't work for him. He played a couple of nice touches when he did have the ball, but large periods of that game, I felt like he was isolated. You know, there was question marks over did he actually work that hard enough. But I feel like that is something that he needs to get to grips with the Moyes sort of philosophy, the way Moyes wants to play, the way Moyes wants his strikers to conduct themselves off the ball. That is, can you press? Can you work hard? And Odoi needs to, he's only an 18-year-old, he needs to come in and sort of understand. He needs to be given time. He can't just be given 90 minutes or 60, 70 minutes. He needs to be given 10 or 15 minutes off the bench when we're winning games or we're losing a game. And he just needs that match day experience rather than here's 60 minutes, just get on with it kind of thing. So that does lead into my next point. If Odoi not ready, if Yarmolenko is out possibly for the rest of the season or for a decent chunk of the rest of the season, and Antonio's not ready for Sheffield United and question marks whether he's actually going to be able to sustain his fitness, there's the free agent market. I spoke about this already a couple of times in videos. The free agent market. West Ham now, we have to surely explore this opportunity that the free agent market does give us. Now, Diego Costa, I spoke about Diego Costa and I spoke about Daniel Sturridge. They're probably the two main sort of targets that we probably would be looking at if we was looking to bring a striker. And both have got Premier League pedigree. Both have got injury records that could say that, you know, they might actually get injured, similar to Antonio. They are injury prone. But for me, West Ham now, we're in a very close situation where if we don't get this correct and we don't sort this out now, our season could derail. We've got a paper-thin squad. Getting out, you know, I'm absolutely gutted that we've been knocked out of the FA Cup. But that does mean now that we are going to play less games. We've got, you know, the team can afford a little bit more rest, and maybe now we can sort of justify the decision not to rotate as much because we're not playing as many games. And that's the thing with a paper-thin squad when, you know, you're playing loads of games and you haven't got that many players to sort of choose from. You're continually churning out the same starting 11, and eventually they will get worn down, they will get tired. And for example, Mark Noble yesterday, he played 120 minutes yesterday. He's our backup centre mid, but there was no one on the centre mid that maybe we could have had. Similar, maybe like Josh Cullen, that if we didn't sell him in the summer, he could have come on, like, you know, and sort of rotated with Mark Noble. But Mark Noble had to play the whole game because we had no one on the bench that could possibly play that role. You could arguably say that Fornals could have done. But West Ham have to explore the market. We have to get a body in. We have to get either Diego Costa in or Daniel Sturridge. You know, they are going to ask for 100k, 120k a week. But if it's a short-term deal and we're not paying anything in terms of a transfer fee, and we'll try and bring that agent fee down, because that's sort of, you know, the sort of substitute. You might not pay a transfer fee, but then the agent fee or the player fee will be incredibly high, or wages are incredibly high. So if we can get maybe Daniel Sturridge or Diego Costa in on a 6-month contract, reassess it till the end of the season, and then go from there. But everything that comes down to me, what I feel like, we should have just gone for Josh King. I know Josh King wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but he was pretty much the mould of Antonio. He brought similar characteristics into the team, runs the channels, holds up the ball, you know, versatility that David Moyes likes with his players. And I feel like for 5 million, where Everton paid 5 million for him and he's only got a 6-month contract, I think that gamble would have been worth it. And it looks like we should have done it, because we've now got no strikers. And if we had Josh King in, you know, Josh King would have started yesterday instead of Yarmolenko. He would have brought a similar dynamic to what Antonio brings to West Ham. So we are in striker crisis. In the comment section down below, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know on Odoi Beckham's performance. Let me know on the Yarmolenko situation. Let me know on Antonio. Would you now explore the free agent market? I feel like we're going to have to now. And I feel like the club were a little bit cautious and they didn't really want to, but now they're going to have to force their hand and actually go, right, now we have to, because we've got no other choice. If Yarmolenko's injury comes back, he's out for a considerable part. If Antonio misses Sheffield United, who are we playing up front? You know, they have spoke about, you know, Moyes spoke about exploring the option of Jesse Lingard playing as a striker, but, you know, we can't just keep on using the excuse of we're going to turn wide players into strikers. It's not going to work every single time. And whilst Jesse Lingard has got a little bit of experience, we do need an out-and-out striker that will give us that option and that extra body in that position that will allow us to maybe rotate every other week or give Antonio rests when he need it and maybe not change the dynamic of the team too much. But guys, hit the subscribe button for more West Ham videos and I'll catch you next time. See you later.